Hi everybody, this is Eric and you're watching Eric Plays 8 String. In today's video I'm going to be doing a little Q&A as well as talking a little bit about the last week. So a couple of interesting things happened last week, and I want to start by apologizing for not posting a video last week. I was planning on doing a video on extensions, and then some things happened that kept me from making a video that I was happy with. On Wednesday, I had an amplifier that was supposed to be delivered. I was excited to play this new Phil Jones bass amp, and unfortunately it was stolen off of my front porch when it was delivered, so I had to do a bunch of paperwork and file a report with the police and all that stuff. So hopefully it'll show up at some point, or I'll get another one, or we'll see how it goes. Always make sure that you're home for a big delivery like that, or see if you can have them drop it off at the nearest shipping store or whatever they can do, because leaving an amp on a doorstep, in hindsight, was a terrible idea. And I don't wish that on anybody ever. So I'm considering this a lesson learned. The other thing that happened on Saturday was I played at the Wiltern Theater in Los Angeles, and I'm going to pull up a photo right now so you can see a shot from the stage. I played a live soundtrack for the movie Fight Club while they were screening the film with Edward Norton and Brad Pitt and a lot of other really fantastic actors. And we were joined by Mike Simpson from the Dust Brothers, who's also known as Easy Mike, really fantastic guy, incredible talent. And I was also joined by my friends in the band Lunar, again, really wonderful people, and that evening was a pleasure. It was great playing with everybody. And big thanks to everybody who came out to the show and supported us and said hello afterward. It was great to see everybody and meet some really wonderful people. So today I'm going to do a little Q&A video. I'm going to answer a question that was put up by Austin Cantor. This was about 4 days ago, and Austin writes, as a former 6-string bass player to a 6-string guitarist, it's always been on my bucket list to obtain an 8-string guitar. Was wondering if you knew any 8-string movable chord shapes you could use anywhere on the neck. The short answer is yes and no. So if you look at the way a 6-string bass is tuned, it's usually B, E, A, D, G, C, and it's tuned in fourths, which means that you can take any shape and move it across the neck, up and down the neck, and it's always going to be the same type of chord. If you have like a major shape or a minor shape, you can just pick it up and move the whole thing someplace else. And because the tuning is uniform all the way across all 6 strings on a bass like that, you don't get any change in the chord quality. You know, you'll change the name of the chord, whether it's an A or an F sharp or whatever, but a major is always major, a minor is always minor, etc., etc. Now, guitar is a different story because we don't have a uniform tuning going across all 6 strings or 7 strings or 8 strings. We have our G string and our B string over here, which give us a third, which means that by design we have to change the chord shape that we're using in order to play the same type of chord across different string sets. Now, if you're playing an F sharp standard where your lowest string or thickest string is tuned to F sharp, that makes it a little bit easier because you have fourths all the way across until you get to that the G string and the B string. Because I play in drop E pretty much exclusively, that gives me yet another different interval between strings that I have to account for when I'm playing various chord voicings. That said, there are some really easy shapes that require very, very small adjustments going from string set to string set. So if you want to just go simply, we can talk about like a major shape like this. So starting on the key of G, 3rd fret, 3rd fret, 2nd fret on the A string, so it's 3, 3, skip a string, 2, like this. So we can do that, and then that's our first shape. Second shape would be here, 3rd fret, so it'd be 3rd fret, 5th fret, skip a string, 4th fret, excuse me. That same shape works. One more string set down, so that's 2 instances of that one. Another shape down here, 3rd fret, 5th fret, skip a string, 5th fret, and then that same shape works over here starting on the D string. So what we get is this. Which isn't truly a movable shape. It's not technically a movable shape, but it's pretty close, and it's only 3 voicings that you have to remember, so not too bad. The other thing that I like to do quite a bit is use voicings with either seconds or fifths or sevenths, different intervals like that create suspended chords, and those are really easy to move around using grips, using movable shapes. So here's one of my favorites. This is the 3rd fret, skip a string, 3rd fret, and then 5th fret. So this is like the root, the 7th, and the 9th. If you're thinking about this as a D major, a D root, there's no major or minor to it. We can do the same thing another string set over. When we get over to the next string group, we have to adjust just a little bit. So we've got the 3rd fret, the 3rd fret, and then the 6th fret. Oops. There it is. You can just do a straight bar and just strum across. I like to move these things in pentatonic scales because it sounds really good to my ears. The last shape is here. And that's just, again, almost the same shape, but I'm adding my middle finger here, 1 fret above whatever the root of the chord is that I'm playing. So you get this. And then down here on the E string, it's a little bit different sounding because of that 5th interval between the E string and the B string. So we can adjust that a little bit and play it like this. So long answer, yes, kind of. Short answer, not really. Aside from being able to just play like big punk rock power chords. Because of the way the instrument is tuned, you have to use different shapes for different string groups just to get around that major 3rd problem here and that perfect 5th problem here. That said, you could tune your instrument in fourths all the way across and go F sharp, B, standard tuning, and then like a C and an F up here. But what that does is it takes away a lot of kind of standard guitar voicings that a lot of us guitar players are really familiar with. So for me, the way that my tuning is set up, if that drop E tuning standard, makes the most sense for me because I can use all of my standard 6-string chords, and I had to learn a couple of other inversions, a couple of other voicings to cover the low notes, but it wasn't that big of a learning curve. I've tuned my guitar in fourths before, on a standard 6-string, and that was cool, but it was so disorienting that it made me really want to just pick a system and stick with it and get fluent in that system. It's something to think about for yourself. If you're more comfortable playing in fourths than you are in standard guitar tuning, then maybe look into tuning your instrument in fourths all the way across if you do end up buying an 8-string. And then that gives you movable chord shapes for days, but it's at the expense of being able to play standard guitar voicings, like a big open E chord, that you can't really do that in fourths because it would sound like this, which is different, of course. If you'd like more clarification or if you have some follow-up questions, please post another comment and we can talk about it. If anyone has more in-depth questions and they'd like to speak with me personally about it, just let me know. Send me a message and we can set up a Skype session or whatever. We can talk about these things. So that pretty much covers it for today, and I'm looking forward to posting my extensions video finally. I'll be doing that later this week or early next week, depending on my schedule. It's been so crazy. But thank you guys for your patience, and I'm really glad that you're enjoying my channel and that you're enjoying my content. It's a pleasure to bring this stuff to you. And I think that's it for now. All right, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. And if you'd like updates, please subscribe. And like I said, if you have any questions at all, feel free to leave a comment. All right, have a great week. Bye.